Hey, groovy gardeners. All right, what day is it? I think it's May 17th in Prince Edward Island. It's actually kind of a mild day, maybe like 10 or 12 degrees here right now, but it's going to get pleasant and overcast. Doing a quick video to just talk about my greenhouse setup this year and what I've changed, what I've learned, and why I'm doing it. All right, so we're looking inside the greenhouse right now. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the difference between plants that I transplanted and separated inside first and allowed them to get over their root shock and brought them out, compared to plants that I very stupidly transplanted and put them outside on the same day. So I gave them root shock and environmental shock. Alrighty, so as you can see the difference, all of these plants over here, I did the proper technique. Separate them out because I grow a whole bunch of seeds in a tiny little container. I separate them out, so I deal with their root shock first when you pull them apart. Then I bring them out to the greenhouse so they can adapt to the UV radiation, the temperature changes, bugs, everything else. These poor little fellows down here, exact same age, start date, they went through the trauma of root shock and environmental shock same day. Totally miserable. If they survive, they'll be fierce because they'll have overcome this, but, unhappy. So lesson number 1, never do 2 shocks at the same time. Okay, so lesson number 2 that we learned this year was what kind of greenhouse to use and how to position it in the space that I am. So I'm walking backwards here so we can get a perspective. I've used all kinds of different greenhouses. I've used shallow tunnels and tall ones with lots of shelves, and I've ended up with this. It's a really simple structure. It's basically a little pup tent made of plastic. As you can see, it's got one door here. I like this one because it has a vent built into the top that I can open and close to help control heat. It doesn't have any shelves. It's literally just the cover, but I can control inside. I'm not using any shelves in there right now, but it's working just dandy because I'm using it as a sequence place to bring plants out. The other thing you'll notice is that piece of garden fleece or cloth there. I have that set up because of the way the sun comes in. The sun comes in over on the right in the morning when the plants really need it. We get the first light of day here, which is very rare in downtown because there's so many buildings. So the position of the greenhouse is designed to capture very early morning sun and sun throughout the day, but the afternoon sun can get way too intense in there, obviously, because the plastic is going to amplify the heat and I don't want my plants to cook. So, shade cloth. Let me show you how I hook that up. Obviously, once again, really simple. This is just a simple pup tent. So we wrap the cloth around, put some clothespins in to hold it into place, wrapped it around the frame, put some clothespins to hold it into place, and away we go. What we get is a much more balanced heat in the hot of the afternoon. The plants don't suffer, but they still get plenty of sun, so they're growing like crazy. So adaptation number 2 was changing the greenhouse using the shade cloth to control temperature. Number 3 is the position of it. We get really heavy winds here on PEI. Really heavy winds. A lot. And for little greenhouses like this, that can be brutal. It can just destroy everything. I'm in a space that has a fence and barns on one side, a fence and houses on another side, the side of the apartment building on the third side, and as we come around, an open parking lot on the fourth side. That's the west for us, and that's where the worst of the winds come from, is from the west. Right? From the north, we're well sheltered, from the east, from the south, but the west is awful. So the greenhouse is positioned so that the sloping side takes the worst of the west wind. So rather than taking the wind hard on the front or the back of the greenhouse, we're taking it on the side, it slopes over. I'm having very few issues with wind this year. This is very stable. The other thing that's helping with the stability is I used my outdoor planters, these lovely big boxes, and I have positioned them around the base of the greenhouse. They are helping to hold it in place. The greenhouse cover didn't really go very far. The plastic only reached a couple of inches under the frame, so what I did was I attached additional plastic all the way around. I taped it on the inside, took an old clear shower curtain, and then I used that to pull the tarp and make it longer so it literally goes like 2 feet underneath. That way when the crates are put on top of the plastic, they secure the tarp into place. I get a lot less waving around of stuff. So planters on the outside are creating both a buffer and a weight to stabilize things, and probably a little bit of heat, because I have straw and mulch composting in these to be able to feed my plants later in the summer. So anyways, lots of chitty chat, but better positioning to handle wind, shade cloth to be able to manage temperature, the planters around the outside to give us stability, moving away from shelves so I'm not worried about plants falling off. I've also placed the greenhouse away from the fences to get away from the slugs. We are on a rock base, which really helps. And finally, I'm in a position to get all day sun. I'm not shaded by anything else. It's one of the few spots. So there you go. I am bringing plants out also much more slowly this year. I'm not going to make the mistake again of the root shock. I am so sorry, little plants. We'll bring them out in stages. They're going to transition nicely. And we'll have beautiful, happy veggie seedlings for me and for everybody else. It's going to be a good summer. All right, so love you all, my groovy gardeners. It is time for us to get wild and grow our joy, because that's something we can always control. That's us. We are the solution, always. I love y'all.